So here we are on Solstice. Welcome, everyone. And it's becoming a very good year for the crop circles. And it feels like a really good year for, as a teaching. This is how I'm taking it. And that's why I get to, be so overjoyed to have this little group to have this moment of exploring what this particular phenomenon that is so magnificent, what it could be teaching us, you know. Okay, so I want to start by saying that I've said this before, but it really truly is. It's becoming more and more clear that it is my deepest desire. It's like life purpose to actually have a sacred life, to actually feel like my life is in service and that it's sacred. And it's something that I don't presume to know exactly what that means. And in fact, that it becomes a practice. Because I don't presume to know, it becomes a practice, which I think is part of this sacred intent in having an incarnation. Because from here, we have limited sets of perception. This is, I like to say we signed a contract and then we contracted out of the wholeness into this particular, set of frequencies and behaviors, all frequencies at all different levels and scales of ourselves, and limited sets to study how to be in creation. And we're weaving stories. We're given we are receivers of stories and we are weavers of stories. And I feel like recently I actually came to this it was an astonishing realization for myself that I think who we really are, we always want to know, well, that's the spiritual path to find out who you really are, whatever. I think, it's not this body. This is just what I'm doing this lifetime. And I honor this, and I recognize that whatever this is doing has definite resonance. It's a subset, it's a frequency set of whoever it is that I really am. And I'm practicing here from here. So, but the sacred life is not one that we understand necessarily because we are in limited subsets. We are in, little divine sparks, as they're called. We are divine sparks we're sparks. We're a little, it's a spark can start a whole fire, sparks can go really far. And this is the year of the fire horse. And I've been looking at that, the astrology. I think a lot of what this talk today also has to do with the progression of the astrology right now, because we have moved from a long-term engagement in earth and water signs by the outer planets into fire and air signs. And it's not that we leave. This is something I've been contemplating this, we're not leaving the earth and water behind. We are adding fire and air to what we have developed. And we're having more access to fire and air. And what does fire do? Fire consumes what has been grown from earth and water. So, and air also feeds that by letting it expand. It gives it space. Air is almost the definition of space in a certain way. It's like and it's the movement through its winds through space. It's time in a certain sense. Air is time in that it is the wholeness of time, where all of nature, all of creation is doing its moving dance throughout reality, throughout probably multiple realities nested together. That's the uh, other other creation here is one huge torus field, but there are nested torus fields. This is what we learned from studying this geometry, and that we get this information in the crop circles. This is why the crop circles are teaching. They're telling us what this all is. It's so amazing. And so there's these nested torus fields, one very large one of which is our reality, our creation. And then within that, there's a smaller one that is earthly creation and engagement with through all the nested torus fields of all of that information coming in. And then, a much smaller one is you. You are utterly embedded into this fractally nested set of torus fields in creation. It's just, I don't know, my mind, it's expansive. It's expansive. If I'm not too confused, it's utterly expansive. So to think in those realms, to think in those kinds of geometric scalings, which is that's how my mind works. It's like I have to understand where I am in the universe. It's almost like that's my sacred task, is to study. How am I embedded here? How are we embedded here? And what's our role? So I started off by saying that we're storytellers, and that actually all of creation is storytelling by finding its path through the air, I'll call it, with fire, with growth, with density, with the communication and sensitivity of water. Water is all about relationship. Water is what allows us to see and feel. It's considered a feminine aspect in many ways, and it's your blood, it's your lymph, it's what we cleanse with. And it's in the air, it's in our sensitive fields is water. And oh my God, there's so much great information coming out these days about water if you're looking at it at all, especially if you listen. Again, I'm going to put a shout out to the telepathy tapes and the information, and to Veda Austin, and the information that is coming in. That's all getting woven together. It's spectacular. And that's also, wow, okay. The autists, I would say, are friends with Hecate. I'm going to go into this in some lovely depth today. Hopefully you all enjoy it. And because they are at the threshold, they are mediators at Hecate is the wise woman that stands at the threshold between dimensions, between day and night, which is what this solstice day marks. It's a cross-quarter day between our relationship between the light and the dark, day and night. I mean, these are the ultimate metaphors for what we do as we land into this level of creation in time and space. The contract is to be in time and space. When you leave this contract, this embodiment, I don't know how time and space works over there. I hear maybe it doesn't exist. I don't know. It's like, or maybe it's all time and all space accessible from, any point from anywhere that you identify or are. Maybe there's no identifying there, but I think there is from what I've heard from the near-death experiencers, but we're not going to go there right now. So, but time and space, we're trying to understand this is a moment, this is a cross-quarter point in time and space in our relationship on a planet, circling around the sun and turning at the same time, and each of us weaving our own extremely complex and beautiful and worthy story that is received. Okay, here's the next metaphor. Here's the next big one that I think all these stories of today that I'm going to be going into, that I think the crop circles are telling us too, that the story of how to engage with creation is being written. We are each writing that story in our own particular divine spark journey to have it be fed back into the oneness. We're not, even though right now we're doing a contraction, this is very temporary and it's not who we really are. Who we are is the story that we're writing that we're going to bring back to the oneness and see how it's woven in to the huge oneness story, which it is. You cannot be separate. That's, I mean, let yourself, yeah, yeah, heart's going up. Thank you. You cannot be separate. You are not off, you can't be off the path. You are the path. You are the path. And it's extremely like, way more than 10 of them. And they can all dance individually, it's amazing. This is a really truly amazing journey that we're doing. It's remarkable. So I want to make it a good one. I'm reaching for my notes. And I am this earth, air, fire, water thing that's, being called up today and being called up by the astrology. Um, uh, the question becomes, what fuel have I cultivated that now can be burned to contribute warmth, to contribute nourishment, to release what I have accumulated as food for reality, as food for creation, as a good story, because that's what we are. We're receivers of story, you know, and we're weaving the story back into creation. So, what's the fuel? What's the story that you've already written? That is you, that you believe, that you project, that is surrounding you, that is not necessarily what you believe or you project. Because we're doing a subset, remember? We experience from within here. That's the contract. That's the study. That's why it's so confusing. And that's also why we can be surprised, is because we have been willing to come and be in a creation, in an incarnation, where you don't know everything. Everything is known, but from here, very limited. Very, very, very limited, and depending on your perspective. And you're not stuck. That's the other real grace of this whole story. That's actually part of the redemption chapter in the stories that we're writing. Because we wanted to have a fifth act. I don't know if you know Shakespearean structure, but the four-act plays are tragedies, the fifth act plays are comedies. And the fifth act has redemption in it and allows everyone to heal. That's the story we need to be writing, she says from the pulpit. So, yeah, so what is the story that you've already written? You don't want to, it's not about leaving that behind. It's about healing it. It's about allowing ourselves to redeem who we have been, the story, who we have done. I'll put it that way. It's not who we've been, it's who we have done, what we have done, and its relationship with everything else. That's the really big challenge here, because we are in subsets, as I say, we're limited creations from here, but we're in relationship to everything, potentially. Potentially. And I think one of the things the crop circles is doing is helping us to like maybe rewire or reset our focus so that we can have a bigger relationship to reality. Because reality is so much bigger than we've perceived up until this point. I mean, boy, the crop circles are really pointing to that. That there is so much more going on in that phenomenon than our little tiny brains like worm through. It's like we have these really limited stories, and they're a great place to expand the story. Hecate lives there. Hecate is a guardian of the threshold. She lives there. These are threshold stories for us to pass through into bigger dimensions potentially, or help us learn how in some way. Inspire something. I don't know how that works. It may work differently for every single one of us, because we are all weaving our own story and they are all worthy and part of the wholeness. Yeah. So I see from Stace, she wrote Hecate being a story of divine feminine, going back to Inanna, etc. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about that. Yeah. So I also just personally, I hosted a wedding here at my house yesterday. And this wedding was pretty special. It was among two people who have they definitely, the reason why I allowed them to do it here is because I see that they have sacred purpose in their lives. And that they're coming together and being willing to get married is also has sacred intent. It's very, very clear to anybody who knows them. And one, actually, you know what? I'll tell you who they are. One of them is Dan Morse, who wrote the book, The Divine Spark Within, which is about the union of the Christ consciousness with Sophia. He's led a life actually having been informed from a young age by this principle of Sophia. And the other is his beloved Diana Kelly, that has also been informed by Sophia her entire life. Which, so that's amazing. And I also feel that my garden now, I mean, I'm in my own sacred engagement. A lot of it's coming through the garden for me these days. A lot of it. It is sanctuary, it is sacred space. It is my threshold with the greater reality, actually. And I treat it as such. I treat it as I treat it as a practice in divine union. And that divine union has to do with bringing, in this language of Sophia, Christ consciousness into Sophia. The Gnostic story is that Sophia got trapped in creation by these uh, by the masculine. By basically, it's the misguided, it's the off-track masculine principles who were levels of creation from the divine. And then Sophia was created as basically as this realm and was supposed to have that full-on divine information, but she got trapped here. She got cursed in a certain way by all those the patriarchy that was above her. And the people that really have kind of devoted themselves to Sophia talk a lot about the the rescuing the feminine, which clearly has been demonized on this planet for millennia. I'm sure we all know these stories. So the rescue of Sophia is still potent. It's really potent right now. These stories are active. Hecate, she's active right now. And that's what I want to really bring us into, and how the crop circles are part of all this same story. And we're story weavers, we're story hearers, listeners. So, where was I? Oh yeah, Sophia. And this divine wedding that went on yesterday. So my garden is also my own engagement with Sophia, because I see Sophia, the principle, as creation. And I see Christ consciousness as the universal love that is the intention and attention of admiration and love and encouragement. And it's everything that you see through the from here, through the portal, which I've talked about, which I might go into a little bit today, but the portal that aims us towards the creation we actually want to be in. Because we, from here, we are in space and time. We are moving. We are telling a stories are all about space and time. Think about it. Stories are something that it unweaves in time. We hear, oh, there's no such thing as time. Oh boy, what a mind fuck for us from here. No. From here, there's definitely space and time, stories are unfolding. And then they all do get woven back together and within the oneness. But from here, it's unfolding. What was the story that I was just going to tell? Had something to do in my garden. I don't know. It'll come back to me if it's important.
Is it your garden and Sophia?
Garden and Sophia, garden as Sophia. Thank you, Stace. Yes, creation. And that my consciousness, it's my practice to see how do I bring a kind of divine love with my engagement with the garden? Because it's becoming really clear that it's not just nature separate from me that is living out there. I have now come to allow that I live here. I'm supposed to live here. You're supposed to live here. You're supposed to do this story, have this story, have a good time at it. Write a good story. Give the universe fabulous fuel for the fire that is now starting to burn and the air that's going to circulate the smoke from your fire to be breathed in by all the other smokers. We're all smokers. and and to allow that kind of air soup to tell a story, to tell a really much grander story. Wow, I think I'm channeling. I don't know where this is coming from. It's the story I've been weaving. If you're saying something, Sandra, I can't hear you. Yeah, okay. Um, yeah. Thank
I
you.
think I
Thumbs
think
up,
you're
she
I
says.
think you're I think you're being the real you,
Oh,
personally.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want my life to be sacred. And so, I don't, part of that is knowing I'm not, even though it feels like I am alone in here, I'm not alone. You're there. You're there. And how do I have right relationship in a way that creates that this is a really good fire? That it's warming and nourishing and nurturing for all of us where we are right now so that we can rest and relax and heal from the stories that we've already written, both individually and collectively. Oi. And are also being held by much larger collectives that maybe the crop circles are a threshold to engage with. And each of us is that threshold to engage with. You are each a divine union story. You have creation as your incarnate bodies and beings. That is your Sophia. And your attention, your engagement, your love, your universal love that can pay attention, because you do have choice in how this happens. You do have choice in what story you are telling. And to come back into your own power, reclaim, you have a right to live this story. You have been granted this story. You have been bestowed and agreed to the contract of the story that you are writing, that you are not stuck in. This is very temporary. It's very temporary, you know? And to realize that this story that you are in is is food for the universe. It's your gift back to the universe. It's the ping back. You, as the divine, decided to come down here, do this conversation, ping back, at the end and go, well, here's where, look, see, they're agreeing with me. Ping back with your story and see how it's woven into everything. And not only that, okay, here, I'll give you a little bit more about Sophia. This is the Philosophia. And I have that in the slides, so I'm not going to break that down just yet. But a little bit more about Sophia is that she's alive, she's sensitive, she's responsive. She feels the impact. The feminine aspect gets the impact of your attention and feels it and radiates back out. This is what it's doing to me. This is how it feels. This is how I'm going to move in response to it. And out in the garden, it becomes, oh my God, it becomes so beautiful, with plants and flowers and air and, I mean, creation is amazing. And then to say that your body is one of those and your attention is your own divine spark. It's your own Christed consciousness potentially. Christed consciousness is I like the word Christos. I mean, it has slightly less religious baggage than the word Christ, slightly less. But I like that it's connected to the word crystal because it is geometric. And one of the things that we get taught in the crop circle curriculum is about geometry. It's one of the things we get taught and that there are alignments that they go through the cosmos, they go through our solar system, they go through time, and they go through us. They go through time. That's a very deep contemplation. The crystals actually move through time. Actually, it's phi that allows that. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and start the slideshow. Enough kind of, well, it's all going to be sermon, but I hope you're enjoying it. All right,
Absolutely.
good. Okay, I'm going to share. Okay,
Yes,
all right, good. And do you see the picture?
yes,
Okay,
Yes.
good. We're on. Okay, good. That helps. So yes, happy solstice, everyone. This came today. Um, and we're going to talk about it later, but oh my goodness, right in alignment with the whole story. It's actually, you know what? I'll show you uh the overhead. That's it from overhead. And eyes are figuring big right now in crop circles and in the collective psyche, especially from Disclosure Day. I don't know how many of you have seen it yet. Okay, yeah, I'm sure that that would be a whole other discussion, not going there today. Maybe little pieces, but anyway, eyes. This also, I heard these extensions with the circles being called lollipops. And that's kind of a trope that's been in the crop circles in the past, not too far recently. The obviously it's the cross quarters and the reference to number 8 and solstice is a cross quarter natural holiday, holy day, natural holy day. Okay, so let's come back up here. We're going to talk about this later, but I want to start here. PHIl0SophiA. I want to give you this code. These were the first three of this year. These three. Okay, phi, obviously referenced in the third crop circle from this year because 5 and phi are very closely related. Inside the pentagram are phi ratios. And it's the reason why you can go through scale when you okay, let's see. Okay, yes. So the first, I'm gonna spell it out a little bit more, but phi, the big phi, PHI in PHIl0SophiA, is cosmic phi. Okay, it's that's the first time you hear this word phi. LO is also 1 and 0. LO is binary. LO is the code for duality. It's the code for polarity, actually. You could think of it also as the wholeness and the arrow that goes to the center of the wholeness. You can also think of it as the alignment through multiple torus fields. That's the one. That's the one that takes you to the singularity, which is the center of all the nesting torus fields, which all are relate. You can scale through. Phi has to do with spirals. There are phi spirals. It's a relational. Phi is a relational number. It's the relationship from one scale to a different scale. And in the binary we tunnel into a particular scale. This is a zero and a one that's taking you into a center. And that center, the continuing with the code here, so it goes from you get to center and then you start to weave a story in your own small little O, in your scale of wholeness, of who you are in this lifetime, which is a complete and utterly worthy story of wholeness to take back to the greater wholeness, the greater scale of wholeness. And we practice through our own little version of Phi. We're doing it from here. Phi comes all the way in, comes all the way into our story, practices through scale. And then we create the triangle. Triangles are the structures that get and perspectives. That a triangle is a duality on one side with perspective on it to another side. And how that duality or that polarity, where it's situated, you're the point that's looking at it. You're the point, you are a facet of triangular vision into creation. I don't know. That's just that might be true. Yeah, you could probably look at that one, but
It's a nice way to put it.
it's a nice way to put it, yeah. And I do see that, creation is kind of crystalline. It's it has things have crystallized out of it. But PHIl0SophiA, Sophia, the rescue of Sophia with the attention of divine consciousness, is that this is a story and it's not stuck. This is something that can change. Anything that's crystalline still is in time, morphing and moving and finding new levels of relationship and form and expression in space and time. And may it be glorious, because it is a choice. And that's what the Christed consciousness is going to do. It will choose the good story. And that's for you to determine what that is. But it's going to be in center with your own Sophia. The Christed consciousness is here to be in the center with Sophia, in divine union, in love. Right? Okay. So here we have, look at these 3 crop circles from this year. Do you think we're expressing this? We've got the big Phi coming in, expressed as the Christed consciousness, being willing to penetrate all the way into center, and then engaging with the binary and tackling it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How do we do this? It's a practice. That middle one to me is the practice. It's a oscillation. It's a pulsation. These things move for me. And then you have to practice going through scale. That's what's really going to support you, is knowing that there's multiple levels that are harmonically related. They're not stuck in a binary. They can find their information and go in so many more directions. So, okay. So here they are again. There was our oscillation back and forth. Here we are in being given the information that yes, we can scale through Phi. We can scale and harmonically and beautifully. And other ratios too are here. Apparently, it's not just Phi ratios that are going out each of these things. Peter, who's not with us today, he did an analysis on he's still with us on the planet. I didn't mean to say it that way. He's still here, but he's not with us today in this in this contract. Um, but he did some analysis, geometric analysis, as this is brilliance to do, and these are not just phi ratio points. So, but I'm not going to go into that here. So there's more going on. There's always more going on, which is what's so cool about the crop circles. There's such big stories, such great portals for storytelling. And then this was the next one, King Weston, in on the 13th of May, 10th of May, started out that one. And I think we heard your story, Tomasz, last time about what happened, and it developed into this second iteration. And you know what? I'm gonna bypass this one for the moment. This is the 22nd of May, but this one clearly has a relationship to the one that did happen today. So I think I'll bring this one in later. But this one has a relationship to this one through this symbol. And that's what I put in the announcement, if you read
Perfect.
the announcement. So, Hecate's wheel. Wow, Hecate. Okay, let's talk about Hecate. Okay, and it's probably obvious to both of you, all of you. I've binaried you. Sorry about that. It's just me and you. I don't know. Um, uh, I'm hoping that you can all see, with your soft eyes, how this symbol, Hecate's wheel, has in it allusions to the formation at Ditcheat and also at King Weston and put together into this wheel. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about Hecate now. So because wow, I'd heard her name. I have friends who identify as priestesses, and they know all the pagan god. They all know all the goddesses throughout all time. Blah blah blah. And but I haven't really studied that. Whoa, this symbol really made me dive deep into Hecate, and I realized that um she's very similar to Sophia and that she is but I think she's weighted a little bit more towards certain aspects of creation. If Sophia is creation, I'm going to put it that way. Hecate kind of amplifies certain aspects of creation, but they're utterly important to creation. You can't leave her out if you expect to have a good time here, and we want to tell the good story, right? So she is the goddess at the crossroads. She's the goddess of the crossroads. And crossroads, that's from what road, the road that you've been on to whatever roads are available to you. And what's going to make you make that choice? How do you choose? She's the one she brings the torch to help you see. And it's nighttime. You can't see everything. She's the one between night and day. She helps you lead, but from the daytime into the nighttime. She holds a torch. And you can see certain aspects down any of these roads, potentials. And she also has keys that will open the gate for you to go ahead and walk through. And she has blessing too. She can actually listen to you and say, maybe give you a little bit of a wink towards one path or another path. She may be she may be able to give you clues. I mean, she does. That's part of her metaphor. And that these are active forces in life. This is not just some ancient goddess. This is happening for us now. We are at crossroads. We are facing choices. We are each trying to become the HIl0SophiA, the divine union that has the Christed consciousness that can make good choices and heal this world. That's who we want. That's what we really want to be here, at least. That's the divine contract, should we so pick it up. That would be good. So yeah, she dwells at the threshold between light and dark, and she's often depicted as triple-headed. So she can look into your past, she sees where you are right now, and she can also look into multiples of the future. She can turn all three heads to the unknown and help you choose, right? Knowing where you've been and who you are and how you are and what you want and all of that. So she's fierce. If you make the wrong choice, she has a dagger. She has the ability, and this is all in the mythology I've been studying. It's amazing. Um, she has the ability to both grant or deny your wishes. She's kind of like a Shiva character that can wield the dagger and go, "Oh man, what were you thinking? No." She's the wise grandmother that's not afraid to spank your hiney. Okay. Um, your high knee. Interesting. Code everywhere. She's also, in nature, she's associated with the moon. Moon shows up at night, and so and during the day, she can penetrate into the day as various phases, as moods into the daytime. She phases and she's at crescents. She doesn't necessarily, to us, she doesn't show as much of her face during the daytime. But at night, she can show all of it. She shows the full range. And dun da dun da da. And just in case you don't remember, I could show you this, and then I'm going to show you this. The one on the right was from last year. And it was challenging to people. I think that, allusions to pagan or Wiccanism or, any of that can be challenging for people. It's like it has been demonized with dark stories. That's because it's willing to include the dark. Hecate is there's so much more going on here. And everything that you don't see metaphorically is in the dark for you. And we're waking up, we're like penetrating into the dark. And part of that is to understand your own engagement with it. You have to include yourself in the story and our journey in the story. And Hecate is one of those earth goddesses. She's associated also with Demeter and Persephone, who are the earth goddesses that deal with the seasons. Hecate was the one that said, "Okay, I'm gonna help you, Demeter, go find Persephone, who's been stolen into the winter, and that we don't end up in some stuck story that says you can't ever see her again, that you're damned, and we're gonna all go damned with her." This was Demeter's story after Persephone was stolen into the underworld by Hades.
Which echoes the Inanna story, of course.
Ding. Exactly. Exactly. And also echoes in Sophia and the Christos rescue. So all of these are the same story and it's functioning right now. We are in an underworld story that has kind of taken over a bit. And we need to bring our wise Hecate and our wise Christos into this story and heal it because it's not stuck. It's not, as she says again from the pulpit. It's not stuck. We're not stuck. This is a redemptive story. Okay, so here we are with these two, Hecate. Wow, we are at a threshold. We are being counseled to see that we are at threshold and that what is it that is the in between? What's our responsibility? What's our practice here at this threshold? This is facing unknowns, and we have huge stories that we have written. And I'm not going to tell you how to do this, I think that your own engagement with these principles, with your own, what is the healing that you need? What is the healing that you could bring, both in writing your own good story and in helping the outer world to write a better story. Right. May this be really, really the good story. How do you engage with that? How do you have right with relationship with everyone, with everything, all my relations, as the indigenous like to say. Every point of consciousness in creation, every smoker telling a story. We're all in the atmosphere now. Can we burn the fire? Can we burn the fuel that's been created in that atmosphere to purify it, for it to tell the best story? The smoke is the crystal of story that comes out. Ah, oh, I love that image. I love that. Okay. So, I may be just about done with my Sunday sermon. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh yeah, this was really good. Here's just one more mythology that I heard from Karen Alexander. She put it in a posting somewhere, and I read this and I thought this is the same story. It's the in Greek mythology of the, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Moirai. I'm sure that's plural. The Moire. I don't know, Moire. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it means the apportioners. The apportioners, those who give a portion of their own into life to each other. And they're the ones that I don't know the real mythology. This is how much I've gotten of it so far from just Karen talking about it. There are three of them, goddesses of fate, who personified the inescapable destiny of man. They assign to every person their fate or shame in the scheme of things. This sounds very Hecatean, in my opinion. The goddesses were Clotho, who was the spinner, the one who spun the thread of life. Lachesis, who is the apportioner of lots, who says, okay, you get this, and you get that. And Atropos, the unaltered, who cuts the thread. That's a fascinating. Cuts the thread, the one that seals the story in a certain sense. Like says, okay, the thread is cut, the tapestry is woven. I'm getting this right now as I read it, actually. It's amazing. And then Zeus is their leader. He's the god of fate. He's the one that they have to actually all answer to. But Zeus doesn't necessarily have to be engaging with them. Oh, and by the way, one of the things about Hecate is she's often portrayed as three maidens around a column. The column being, the number one, the column being divine union, column being the point at which all the torus fields align. It's alignment, it's divine alignment. So, Zeus represents that in the Greek pantheon, or the power, the deepest power of it in some way. And so that's interesting. There's more about the Moirai, but that feels very, very, very Hecatean. So, okay. Um, yeah, this is counsel. This is divine counsel, in my opinion. There are many, many other ways. I don't want to say that this is the definitive answer to the crop circles. I really don't. I'm just letting you hear how it moves through me as a respected divine spark of consciousness engaged in this story, trying to write a good one. And I'm using this. Um, it's almost like a writing board. They're writing stories. Who knows what stories they're actually writing? I don't know. But this is the one that's coming into the cosmos through me. And it feels good, so I'm in service to that. Um, what a beautiful crop circle in relationship to the landscape. They are embedded on Sophia. These are little divine intentions embedded onto Sophia. And this was more about its alignment with something else, some landmark. I can't remember what it is in the surrounding countryside. Um, this is one that got mowed out, that no one got photos of before it got mowed out. It was around the same time. This was June 15th. This was 31st of May. That's it. When was this? That seemed like this was at the same time as this one. Ha, but I'll get to this. Um, yeah. So it looks like it was trifold or ninefold. Um, and they probably had some concentric circling, ringing going on in there. Very hard to see what the design was, unfortunately. Very unfortunately. I miss it. I miss it when a chapter gets cut out. I want to hear the whole story. But on the same day, there was this one. So that ain't bad. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to let myself continue to weave this into the story that I've been writing today. And again, this is just how I like to read it. So here we have three eyes, three maidens, the trifold nature of reality, and the past, present, and future. All aspects being given um, equal weight, equal bearing. And then, but through the eye, through the iris, it's become binary. And it even, my first impression on this was like that felt really metallic to me, like a washer that's been bolted on and sawed in half. I don't know if anybody else had that impression, but that was like one of the first impressions. I haven't heard anybody else say that, but that was really one of the first impressions I had. And so it feels like this binary has been bolted in. It's like the control story written onto Sophia. It says, no, we are going to keep you in this story, and we're anchoring it in with more binaries. Fortunately, though, right through the center, she has this alignment from her deep center that's related into creation with all her sisters, with all of creation, and to the greater reality next scale outside of that. And it's utterly connected. There's no impediment for that information to get to center and inform. No impediment whatsoever. And then the other thing is that it looked like this thing over here, which is one of those, if you're old enough, maybe most of us are, we remember 45s, record discs, um, that spun at 45 revolutions per minute. That's how it was actually measured. It's a frequency of 45. And on it was recorded all the frequencies that you wanted to hear and listen to, that were on that particular constellation of record. But if you wanted to play it on something that spun at 33 and a third, you had to have this little threshold symbol. You had to have that little device that fit the scale in the 45 disc to the scale of the thread of the oneness, the scale of oneness that goes through 33. And 33, whoa, okay. I mean, these are big numbers in our collective mythology, you know? I'm not going to go deeply into that right now. That's a whole other story that you can start to riff off on in your own lives with what's the relationship between 45 and 33. Oh, a lot, a lot. And it's a threshold apparently. And I feel like they may be like winking at us, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, like Hecate, going, hey, change your frequency, learn how to scale, don't get caught in binary, see it, recognize it. It's part of creation, is that we are engaged in polarizing, oscillating time. It's why you're not stuck, is because it's in time. The oscillation is happening in time. It's a movement. It's not a bolting. It's not a crystal, actually. It's not a crystal until you get to three. Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that before. Okay, so here we have that one. And then there was some magic that happened while Tomasz was there. Amazing. And that this extra little angel wings, Hecate, or someone opened a door and a little angel came and boop while people were there. And we can hear that story from Tomasz if he has one. Would love to hear that. We'll come back to that. Um, and there it is in relationship to the crop circle. Here it is up close. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And then there's today. Eyes, cross quarters, solstice, connection all the way through our distorted perceptions from the center to the outer at multiple layers of scale. Those lollipops are at different depths. They may be squared. I'm not sure. It kind of doesn't look like it. It looks like the middle ones, I mean, the shorter ones looks like those extend out a little further. There probably is some alignment that makes it square because that's what these crop circle makers like to do. They love it. And I'm thrilled with those stories. So we will see more about this as time rolls on because surprises and the unknown will always be with us. And then I wanted to just put this one up, which shows everything for today, up to today. Well, yes, up to today. I put this one in the center. I had originally made this slide with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, yeah, and 9. 9. Oh, interesting. If you count this as two of them. Oh, we didn't talk about this one. Oh, okay. Let me go back to that. Where is it? This one. Maybe it's right that we should talk about this as the last one of my little talk, and then we'll go into group discussion. Wow, I went for over an hour. Wow. Okay. Cross quarters. The sun in the center. That's the symbol for the uh what's it called? The singularity. Blah, 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 blah. I've used this word millions of times and now I can't remember it. The circumpunct. That's the circumpunct that is the symbol for the sun. And the sun is holding the cross quarters. This is like each season, and each season has a beginning, middle, and an end. Beginning, middle, and end. Beginning, middle, and end. Interestingly, with this one, these two. This was the 22nd of May. This was the 31st of May. This is a trinary, a trifold of that kind of choices. You have binary choices on each path, depend from the inner or from the outer. You have choices. You can go either way on these paths. It's part of how the symbol works, I think. And there are three that are held in balance. There's a dark choice, a light choice, and your choice. How's that? That's pretty good. So here we are, very similar story in a certain way, and a very similar story to this. I should have made a slide with both of those next to each other. Well, I'll start our next one with that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and stop speaking.